Two girls, no fights. Two girls, no fights.
Sounds like my hometown.
Hi everybody, this is Two Girls.
No Fcks.
And today's video is called, Hey man, can you put me on the guest list? Vaders, you're from Vancouver. I'm from Montreal originally. Mm-hmm. I have my very special take on guest list. But how do you feel about guest list?
Well, it's an interesting thing because I came from a small town before moving to Vancouver, and there wasn't really a guest list situation where I grew up because the town was so small that the nightclub you went to, like, everybody was friends and related, and like there just was no purpose to it.
There's just one club, that's where you went.
Yeah. So. And like I knew the people that ran. It was just like, it just wasn't a thing. You just didn't ask to be on the guest list. You just like went to the club and then you paid your money and then you went in and that was it. So then when I moved to Vancouver, that was when I kind of, the culture of the nightlife here is so different, and we wait in line and there's the cover and and I got introduced to all that. So I have to admit, when I first moved here, I didn't quite understand why the cost was so high to get into certain parties and not for other ones and like that whole thing. But I'll tell you that I've learned a thing or two over the last 4 or 5 years.
I'm from Montreal. I'm also from a very small town originally in Quebec, but in Montreal, there was no such thing as guest list. There was guest list, but guest list was either if you're like fucking somebody who's performing or if you're somebody's mom who's performing. That's it. Like every artist had like 1 or 2 guest lists. And I thought that was really great because that's how I think how events do well, how artists succeed, because people pay money to go see the thing. Now, when I first moved here, I got to see firsthand because I took some DJ classes at the School of Mix, and I also, because I was with the School of Mix, I worked the door for some of their events. And I'm working the door, and every fucking person that came to the door had a reason why they shouldn't pay to get in, which really shocked me because I saw a lot of artists, small artists, make it big in Montreal because people would show up, they wouldn't know who was performing. Yeah. You pay the $5, you take a chance that either it's going to suck or it's going to blow your mind or somewhere in between, and then you go home. But when people hear like, oh, I know somebody, this and that and the other thing, it was really shocking to me, and I quickly began to understand why it's so hard to succeed as either an artist, a musician, or even an event in general.
Yeah, here in Vancouver.
Yeah, and I don't know why that is. Or people would show up and there was nobody there, so they didn't want to stay. And so the next person would show up and there was nobody there. So there was never a lot of people in the space, which was just mind-blowing. Because coming from a place, like I said, all I know is Montreal, but coming from there to here, I was just like, guys, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And I see people spend money on all kinds of bullshit all the time. When it comes to going out, they don't want to fork out money to support an event.
There's just a lot of small costs, I think, that a lot of people don't think about that really add up when you're putting on an event. And
for every person that gets on the guest list and gets 10 of their friends on the guest list, let's say it's $10 per person, it's $100 lost for the people throwing the event. If you love an event and you want it to keep happening, money can't be lost like that. What I've noticed is people think, hey, I'm going to come to your party, I'm doing you a favor, I'm bringing all my friends. You're not really, though. Go to a city, any city that supports artists, and people will go without having to be put on the guest list. Where is the satisfaction here in saying, like, I'm doing you a favor, I'm bringing all my friends? Why don't you do the event a favor and bring all your friends and pay the cover? And I know some of you might think, oh, it's easy for you to say if you've got money, but no, we have never had a lot of money. In 99% of the cases, there are times when you're spending money on things that you don't really need or that are not really necessary. Yeah. Same thing. And you're still refusing to pay money to go into an event. Becoming an artist, being able to do what you love, it takes time and it costs money. And without people like us supporting the event, those people can't make a living doing what they love.
No, and like, for example, those event producers that paid all those costs that we mentioned earlier, they're generally going to enter a party like that in the deficit. Now they're in debt and they're hoping to at least break even, because if they're the kind of people that are willing to put their own personal money on the line, which a lot of people do because they want an event to happen so badly, that they'll use their own personal funds to pay out all the artists, to pay out for everything in advance, and then they just hope and pray that enough people come through the door that they'll at least break even. I generally haven't really met a ton of event producers that are doing small events, like specific types of events, especially events in our community, that are hoping to gain a major profit. So it's just, yeah, it doesn't cost that much when you think about all of those things to just contribute that small amount to then, like you said, hopefully they can start making enough profit that they can actually start having a pool where they can actually book even better artists and more amazing kinds of performers and stuff like that from other parts, from other countries or provinces or wherever, to come to Vancouver. And all of that just costs money. So that's, at the end of the day, if you're not paying for something, then it's not going to end up being that great.
Yeah, and I always think it's about doing the right thing. The other day I was somewhere and there was a party going on that night, and no word of a lie, and I don't blame that person because they probably just don't know. Hopefully they see this video, but like, we were somewhere and there was a party going on and we decided maybe let's go, and one person pipes up and says, I know the event promoter, I can get us all on the guest list. Not only are they assuming that they should be on the guest list, they've had nothing to do with the party, they haven't contributed, they haven't worked on it, nothing. They just know the person doing it, and they've offered to get all of us on the guest list. I piped up and was like, actually, I just would prefer to buy tickets, and their reaction was like, why, if I can get you on the guest list? And that right there, guys, is the problem. Because not only should you not be on the guest list, but you shouldn't be telling all your friends that you can get them on the guest list. For every one person that you ask to be on the guest list, you're taking money out of the pockets of the event. You know, we need, as a collective, not only to pay money for acts that we know and love, but we need to be able to pay money for somebody that we've never fucking heard of and take a chance. That's the life of an artist. That's the way I see it. I try and put myself in the shoes of somebody who's an artist and think, what would I want? What would you want? On top of that, if you're the type of person that, like, I don't have the money, I get it. Hey, I'm not gonna even begin to imagine that I know everybody's budget out there. But for a lot of you out there, this I'm 100% sure of, and I used to do finance budgeting with people, if you really care about the arts and the events that go on in your city, every time you get paid, take some money, and this is not a joke, put it into an envelope or put it into a separate account and make it your going out money. And commit that if an event comes up that you didn't know was coming up, that you've got money set aside, just like everything else that's important to you. If you care.
You're contributing to the party.
Mm-hmm.
You're supporting the party. That's what you're doing. You're not paying some kind of flat fee to get into an event. You're contributing and supporting to what they're doing. You're going to that event to support it. You're down with the artists. You're down with the DJ. You're down with the people that are there. Whatever the case may be, and you want to support that keeps happening in our city.
I think so. What are you guys' thoughts? Yeah, let us know. What is it like in your city? Or are you from Vancouver? How do you feel about it here? Yeah. Subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Social media is hard.